he mentioned the fact that the former president, one of the former presidents of Romania was here, the second actually. A very good friend of mine, who was also a member of the board here, Professor Vasile Pușcaș. He was chief negotiator for Romanian accession in the European to the EU, while I was Romania's ambassador there as permanent representatives after having served as ambassador to NATO for 3 years and a half. And actually, I would pretend to say that among the Romanian officials, I probably have been in, I am the longest serving Romanian official, bureaucrat if you want, though I probably want to like to name myself or qualify myself rather than a technocrat. Since the beginning of the 90s until today, I've been always involved into the EU affairs especially, but not only, Euro-Atlantic as well. And, well, I probably became a very convinced European-minded guy, in the sense that without, or it's for Europe to not only to face the new realities, globally speaking, but to be a key actor in these new developments. The only solution is for Europe to get stronger and stronger as an entity. So I probably, well, it was mentioned here that you have already heard many Romanians. They probably have had the opportunity to speak quite a lot about Romania's identity, about specificities in Romania. That's why perhaps I would not dwell too much on that, and perhaps I would try to switch a little bit towards what I've been asked by Mrs. Müller, to speak a little bit about what a European embassy may mean or is. But nevertheless, before that, just a few words also about Romania. Well, and I am starting with something which I was referring to just yesterday in the evening, on the occasion of the vernissage of a exhibition in the premises of the Romanian embassy here, of a well-known, of an exhibition of a well-known Romanian painter who actually lived, well, he's been living here in Germany, and more precisely in Aachen, the first ever European capital in the modern sense if we talk about Charlemagne. And we were joking last night about the fact that probably there will be people who would have liked that the capital of Europe be a little bit 140 kilometers east of Brussels. That means Aachen. Well, realities are Brussels is a very nice city to be in. But we are talking about the fact that, well, as I said, he's a painter, Emil Ciocoiu, the name of the guy. He's been living in Aachen for the last 26 years, and the bulk of his works have been created here in Germany. And that made me remember and point out to another very important event which took place, happened last year. You may know that, not you may know, I'm sure you know, that the Nobel Prize winner for literature is also a German, but who was originating from Romania, Herta Müller. And I remember that on the occasion of the announcement of the prize in Stockholm, the former foreign minister of Germany, Frank-Walter Steinmeier, I used to be foreign minister myself while he was in office. And I very much like a statement he made that the fact that the Nobel Prize has been given to Herta Müller is a proof of the strong, very strong cultural relations between Romania and Germany. And I cannot but fully agree with him. And this is the same about the painter which I was talking about, because he's been born in Romania, well, 62 years ago, but the bulk of his life is here in Germany. which is yet another example of cultural interconnection and integration among the European countries. And this is one of the most convincing examples and most pragmatic, if you want, example of how best people can act so as to contribute to the further integration, the deepening of the integration, the increase of the assertiveness of the European Union as a global actor. So that's about, and secondly, it may, I hope you'll agree with me, that the two examples which I provided to you are also an example, or hopefully an argument, in favor of what I've been always preaching, if I may say so, when I was in Brussels as ambassador. I was always saying to my interlocutors before Romania went in as member of the EU, to the interlocutors who wanted Romania to get in rather earlier than later, with interlocutors who may have thought, some of them may still think about that Romania should have a little bit more waited until becoming a member of the EU. And I said, look, guys, Romania's membership into the European Union is, of course, something which is for the benefit of the Romanians themselves. But equally, membership of the EU by Romania or to NATO is at least in a comparable way an added value to the European Union itself and to the alliance, North Atlantic Alliance. And I think that to again come to complete examples, I may become more credible in my assertion. Take an example, very recent one. Last year, the European Council has decided upon to request actually the European Commission to elaborate a EU strategy for the Danube. And this strategy is now in the process of being prepared so as to be adopted under the Hungarian presidency of the European Council next year. Well, this initiative, which now it's a decision at the top level of the European Union, by the European Union heads of state and government, it's an initiative originating, let's say, at least 50% from Romania. It was an initiative which was launched together then. I was foreign minister of Romania when we prepared the first démarche in this respect, together with the then former chancellor of Austria. We wrote a letter to the president of the commission, but also the other countries join in, and especially I want to underline Germany. And now that's becoming a reality. So look at something, why a strategy for the Danube? Because almost today, the Danube is becoming almost 100% inland river of the EU. Now, with Romania and Bulgaria in as members, now Croatia is about to come in a few numbers of years. Serbia will follow. You know that there is a strategy for the Western Balkans for the accession into the EU. Just one example is what Romania has been able to, let's say, to contribute to as a member state of the European Union. Yet another one, in 2007, while I was still ambassador there in Brussels, the EU, again the European Council adopted a EU strategy for the Black Sea synergy strategy. Yet again, Romania was one of the initiators. Romania was also one of the active initiators of the EU strategy for Central Asia. Why? Because, of course, while the European Union is getting further to the east and south, it's normal for a country like Romania, who is in the region or neighboring those regions, to at least pretend to have a better knowledge about the realities there so as to come up with concrete proposals which will help enforcing, strengthening the role of the European Union in the region. So these are the few examples which I want to give you about in support of what I was about to say. That Romania's membership into the European Union is, of course, for the benefit of Romania and the Romanian citizens, of course. But at the same time, like other member states, we are also contributors to a more assertive EU as a global actor, and because, as I said from the very outset, without a stronger EU, you see now with the debates on the global crisis, climate change, and so on, no possibility for any member states, albeit big or very big, including states like the United States or China or whatever, the emerging, the so-called BRICS, yeah? No possibility at all to tackle areas, difficult issues like the climate change or global crisis. So here is about something about Romania's identity as a member of the European Union. I can speak about Romania's identity as a cultural contribution, and since we are here in Germany, I perhaps would also mention another aspect, which it's an important asset for Europe, is this interlink between citizens of various member states of the EU whose roots have been in one country and now they live in another country of the EU. And that means very, very strong bridges in further consolidating this integration. And namely, I'm referring to the Germans, the so-called Siebenbürger Saxon, from Transylvania, from Romania, or the Schwaben from Banat. There are roughly 500,000 Deutsche Bürger, German citizens living here in Germany, whose origin are there in Romania. There are still Germans, there is still a German minority in Romania. And this minority is a very, very valuable factor in further strengthening this cooperation, these relations between Romania and Germany, and offering an example about how minorities can contribute to getting countries closer rather than putting them apart. And I pretend to say that there too, Romania has been bringing some contribution. And to be more, let's say, explicit, you know, the former cultural capital of Europe, Sibiu or Hermannstadt, which is in the very center of Romania, geographical center. It was the capital of Romania in 2007. And this city of Romania is roughly 180,000 inhabitants, of which there is a German minority, but less than 3%. Nevertheless, the mayor, the current mayor of Sibiu, belongs to the German minority of less than 3% of the population of that city, but he's been elected 3 times mayor of Sibiu with more than 85% of the votes. That speaks about relations between the Romanian majority and the German minority, and the way how the minorities are being developing themselves in a country like Romania. That's valid also for the Hungarian minority, which is larger, by the way. It's roughly 6.57%. Since 1996, always the Hungarian Minorities Party had representatives in the governments of Romania. So that's for specificity of Romania. Now, coming back to the area which is, let's say, closer to today's evolving of the European Union now. And you know that one of the topics high on the agenda of the EU is the setting up of a EU, let's say, authentic diplomacy, which is deriving from the Treaty of Lisbon. And when I was looking into the title of the speech I was supposed to deliver today, it was, let me put my spectacles because I'm not yet anymore so young, though I try to. And I thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be here because, you know, before becoming a diplomat, I used to be a university professor for economics, international economics at the Romanian Economic University in Bucharest. And for me, getting in touch and talking to young people, students, it's something of a, let's say, enriching, giving me a strength. Because I have to say something, you know, for a diplomat, in general, I used to say that diplomats have to be cautious when they are talking how they are talking, to whom they are talking, and all these type of things, to be very careful in how to formulate what they are saying, what they don't want to say, and so on, and to say nice refusals, making people believe that it is not a refusal, and all these type of things, yeah. Well, that's part of the profession, sometimes. But I'm among those diplomats who are very much, let's say, addicted to the idea to plain talk, not niceties or I don't know what. So I simply want to say that, and the best environment where this type of talk without any circumvention and without any, I would say, attempt to deviate from the real talk is this kind of environment, human environment, young people like you. And that's why I will not be too much, I hope I will not be that long, so to give opportunity for interactive, as our host was saying here, because it's the most, hopefully, that would be definitely beneficial for me, hopefully for you as well, depending upon how able may be in giving you some reactions to what you may ask me or comment about what I am saying. So, thank you very much once again for giving me the opportunity to come to the Institute. I feel, again, like being part of the young people. At least, well, of course, I hope that you will agree with me, and especially looking into your future. You know, it's important to always have in mind that the age is not always measured only by number of years. There may be young people who have already got a little bit old in the mindset, while there are older people in age who may still be young in the way of thinking. I hope to be part of this latter category. Yeah, well, okay, perhaps I'm too optimistic. I stressed on several occasions that the need of having a strong European Union. And coming to the title of the speech which I was supposed to deliver to you about the role of European embassy. No, that's it. That was the... well, first of all, that means, come back to my, let's say, former incarnation. You know, I don't want to bore you, but there may be, you know, first of all, there has to be a clear understanding of what that means when we talk about European embassy. Because, okay, if we talk in terms of geography, European embassy may mean all embassies of all the countries which are belonging to the geographical continent of Europe. That's not the sense, the meaning which I'm thinking about. When I speak about European embassies, I'm talking about what would come out after the implementation while implementing the External Action Service of the European Union. And that's supposed to bring some important changes in the way how Europe would act as an actor in diplomacy, in the global diplomacy. Of course, the establishment of this External Action Service of the EU doesn't mean disappearance of the bilateral embassy of Romania, of embassy of Germany, and I don't know which country, and so on. But beyond that, there have to be a kind of representation at the EU level able to deal with things which are equally important for all the member states of the EU. If we talk about, for example, you know, now the EU has a common trade policy. Now the EU is trying to speak with one voice in the areas of energy policy, security in energy supply, transportation, and so on. Global warming, though this year in Berlin was more global, getting colder. Yeah, but that's another, you know, sometimes, you know, the best argument in favor of something is to have exceptions. And it's used to say, the exception is the one which strengthens the rule. The rule is global warming. From time to time, you get a little bit of cold, like this winter in Berlin. To